Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Thanks for putting up with our little break that we had from posting videos. It's been a busy summer here. We wanted to bring you a video about banking because if you're like us and living in Mexico but still working in the States, your money is most likely given to you in dollars and you've got to figure out how to buy things here. So one of the best and easiest ways to go about this is using your credit card. The credit card is going to give you the best exchange rate. You're going to get the best fraud protection, and it's simple to just pay it online. However, cash is king here. So you really are going to have to get a lot more cash out than you would if you're shopping in the States. For us, we didn't typically use cash very often in the States. Most things you can just very easily pay for with your credit card. So for Garrett and I, we just were not used to carrying around cash. Here, however, we tend to spend a lot more cash, so we really did need to find a more convenient and less expensive way of pulling out cash in Mexico. Because pulling out cash from our account based in the US from an ATM here, we were paying really high fees. Even though we have an account that would give us some of the fees refunded, we still were paying higher exchange rates and we were still paying fees of the ATMs we were using down here. So one of the options that we heard a lot about online was just opening up an account here and using an intermediary company to transfer our dollars into pesos. So where do you start? When you're trying to get a Mexican bank account, you have to really do some research. You want to make sure that whichever bank that you choose has a physical location, not just ATMs, and also allows you to use the most other ATMs at no charge, because that we have found is very convenient when you're traveling around or you're just in another part of your town, because you want to be able to get cash fairly simply. After you've done a little research and picked a bank, you're going to want to make sure that you got a good referral from other people who've used that bank. And so far in all our travels around Mexico, we've been able to very easily find an ATM to use at no extra cost. Now, when you go to open the bank account, you are going to be required to provide much more documentation than you did in the United States. You are going to need, for me, I'm not a temporary resident yet, so I did need to provide a lease agreement, bank statements, an extra proof of address, a copy of my passport, so a lot of paperwork, and it did take a lot longer to get approved. So just make sure that if you think you're going to need an account in Mexico, you're going to want to start that process pretty early on so that you have enough time to really research. You don't want to get stuck in a bind where you're just going to open one and then have to switch down the road because you're not happy with it. A little tip, while you are working with the bank, make sure that you're really looking at the email addresses unless you're going into the bank to provide all the documentation, so that you're not accidentally sending it to a personal email address. That is a lot of personal information that could put you at risk. So just always keep that in mind with whatever you're doing. And then if you do have copies of your own personal items, please keep them locked in a safe or shred them when you're done using them. Okay, so once you have your account in Mexico, how do you get your money into it? Well, if you're like us, we've tried all the different ways to really see which one was going to give us the best rate and the lowest amount of fees. So the first option was wire transfers. Those are not going to give you the best. Those are pretty high fees, whether or not the rates are good at most banks. The other option is to actually bring a checkbook. You know those like dated things that your grandma used and you actually had to write your name and the amount and sign it. We laugh, but we actually did bring a couple checks with us and you were able to just write yourself a check and then put it in the bank. Our bank here didn't give us a great exchange rate, so that still wasn't the most convenient way for us. We ended up trying a couple different transfer intermediary companies and we ended up using Wise pretty regularly. Now we've been here 10 months and it's been the best so far for the rate and the fees. We have included a link below to the company that we use, Wise, and it is a referral link. Just so you know, you do save a transfer fee on your first transfer that you use if you use that sign-up link. Another benefit of using Wise is that we've actually been able to use it a few times without it being the full intermediary of using our account here. We've been able to transfer directly from our US account in order to pay, for example, our rent or our Spanish tutor. We've been able to just directly transfer those funds rather than putting it into our account here in Mexico and then transferring it to them. So that's been really convenient. Also transferring to our kids' swim school, things like that. So it's a great option, as well as just having an account in Mexico has been incredibly convenient for us. Bonus tip, even if you are just going to withdraw small amounts, you still might want to just go into the bank and withdraw your funds once or twice a month, because we did have a few issues where the ATM malfunctioned. We still got our money, everything was fine, but it does tie it up a little bit longer than you might be used to if you did have an issue in the US. So just to kind of streamline your process, let you learn from our mistakes, or not really mistakes, but things that have happened to us. We're just always wanting to share our stories with you guys.
Hey babe,
Yeah?
you want to give us a quick update on what happened at the bank today?
Sure. So I forgot to go to the bank this week, and we ended up needing cash. And so I went to the grocery store to use the ATM, and what happened? I went against my own advice, and it kept my money. So fortunately, it all worked out in the end, but we did have to transfer our money and wait a couple days to get the money back. So again, follow the advice, go into the bank.
If you like our videos and find them helpful, please hit the subscribe button, and we'd love to hear all your questions. If you need any recommendations or referrals, of course, always reach out to us, and we hope you're having a great time here living in Mexico.
Hooray!
Hooray!